All right. Shalom. Continue Genesis chapter 15, verse 7 and on. So he said to Abram, I am Yahuah, who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you this land to inherit it. Okay. I got my stance now about Exodus 6:3. I'm really believing that the writer or the translators of the scriptures put Yahuwah's name here, but according to Exodus 6:3, Abraham would have heard Yahuwah say, I am El Shaddai. Because I believe Exodus 6:3 says that he didn't reveal his name Yahuwah to them yet. So that's my opinion.
Septuagint says, I am God.
I am God. Okay. Yep.
Yep.
Verse 8. So he said, Lord Yahuwah, how will I know that I will inherit it? He said to him, bring me a heifer 3 years old, a female goat 3 years old, a ram 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. He brought him all these things. There's the works. You see? He believed. What do you want from me now? Okay, let me go get it. It's just that simple. It really should be that simple. When you realize how unworthy you are and how much love the Father has shown to us, that he would sacrifice his own life, sacrifice his son, die on the cross for our transgressions, our immediate response should be, what can I do for you now? What can I possibly, how can I serve you? What do you want? What do you want? You know, somebody saves you in real life and then they come to visit you. Aren't you going to be like, yo, man, can I get you like a drink, like a meal? Like, what do you want to eat today? Like, yo, let's go out. Like, what's your favorite place to eat? Like, what can I do? Like the rest of my life, I feel like I owe you like the rest of my life, man. Thank you for saving me and jumping in that building, that fire and rescuing me. You know? So Abram gets all these things and divided them in the middle and laid each half opposite the other, but he didn't divide the birds. I don't know if some of y'all might have if y'all listen to a video or teaching on this, but I don't really have anything right now, but I know there's something significant to this. It says, verse 11, the birds of prey came down on the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. When the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell on Abram. Now terror and great darkness fell on him. That doesn't sound good. He said to Abram, know for sure that your offspring will live as foreigners in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them. They will afflict them 400 years. Okay. What's the Septuagint say? Same thing. 400 years. I will also judge that nation. So the darkness comes, the great darkness and the terror comes because there's bad news. It makes sense that the bad news came right after that. All right. There's bad news. Yeah, the good news is I'm going to make your children like the stars. You're going to have many, many children. Even though you're old right now and you haven't had a child yet, I'm going to give you many children. But guess what? These children are going to struggle badly for 400 years. Okay, there's prophecy all right there, right? Yahuwah knows the beginning, the end from the beginning. But we don't. It says, I will also judge that nation whom they will serve. Afterward, they will come out with great wealth. It does sound like their time in Mitzrayim. Sounds just like it. Sounds just like the time in Egypt. They came out with great wealth. They were able to go in the wilderness, survive all that time, and go into the promised land. Some people are arguing that the 400 years, the time in Egypt, doesn't line up with 400 years. It's not enough time because according to Galatians, I think it talks about how from the time of Abraham received the promise to Moses was 430 years. So it doesn't seem to line up the mathematics. So it must be more than just the time in Mitzrayim that Yahuah is talking about. It's very plausible, very possible. We know Israel has struggled for many years and they've been taken captive. They went to Babylon, Assyria, all kinds of things. So I'm not a prophet, so I'm not trying to prophesy unless something has 100% manifested itself and we can get a prophet of reputation to confirm that this is speaking of this particular verse in scripture. Verse 15, it says, "But you will go to your fathers in peace. You will be buried at a good old age. In the fourth generation, they will come here again, for the iniquity of the Amorite is not yet full." Okay? Here's why you can't spiritualize this to be in the United States of America and the Atlantic slave trade, because Abraham is not in America. Abraham is in the land of Canaan. I mean, in the land of, where is he at? I got to go back by a chapter. Is he Canaan, right? He stepped into Canaan and he got the promises. Yeah. So he's in the promises. So, and right here in this verse, it says, in the fourth generation, they will come here again. So this is after the curses and everything. And it says they will come here again. For the iniquity of the Amorite is not yet full. Our goal is to go over there. If we want to see some fulfillment of prophecy, we need to go over there into Israel. Okay? I see that with, I don't know, I struggle with this whole, what else can the 400 years be referring to? I struggle with that. I don't really understand it. Again, unless we're waiting for the fulfillment of something else in the future. But I do see it in the story of them being enslaved and in bondage under Pharaoh, coming out, going in the wilderness, crossing over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, spying out the land, and then Yahuah giving them victory and living in the promised land. Now, they didn't stay in there. Therefore, there must be something better, which is coming. I believe in the 1,000-year reign of Messiah on the earth. That will definitely be a more successful conquering and a more successful dwelling in the promised land. And perhaps that's what this is talking about. But this is not spiritually, metaphorically representing America and all these other. No, this is definitely in the Middle East, in that area. Okay, this is not America. This is not any other country. It's not Africa. It's not Southern Africa or the middle of Africa. Some people think Jerusalem is in the middle of Africa. No, it's not. Definitely not. All right, verse 17. It came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace. Oh, yeah, let me talk about one more thing. So it says the iniquity of the Amorite is not yet full in verse 16. It's very interesting because we have similar vocabulary on this. I don't have it in front of me, but it is in Romans regarding the sins of the Gentiles, or the Gentiles, till the fullness of the Gentiles come in. Something like that. It's a similar vocabulary. I'm not saying it's the same thing, but I'm just saying like Yahuah seems to have this barometer, his own little barometer of things, that when that reaches whatever number he's expecting it to reach, or whatever he's, like in this case, the sins of the Amorites is not yet full. What does that mean? To me, it seems like he's waiting for the sins, so the bad behavior of a particular group of people, to reach a certain point. And then likewise with this other prophecy in Romans about the fullness of the Gentiles, until the fullness of the Gentiles has come in, there must be a specific number that Yahuwah is waiting for. So what does that mean for us? Preach the gospel to all creature, every creature, all nations. Help his return come quicker by getting the word out. You know? Verse 17, it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a flaming torch passed between the pieces that he had cut in half. A smoking furnace and a flaming torch. Just picture that. A smoking furnace, a furnace that's smoking through, and a flaming torch passing through. In that day, Yahuwah made a covenant with Abram, saying, I have given this land to your offspring from the river of Mitzrayim to the great river, the river Euphrates. Mitzrayim. Yep. The land of the Kenites, the Kenizzites, and the Kadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Raphaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgasites, and the Jebusites. All right. I have given this land to your offspring from the river of Mitzrayim to the great river, the river Euphrates. That's definitely a lot bigger than probably what we've been taught is the land of Israel. Definitely has to be bigger territory. And we see the Ashkenazi Jews and stuff trying to take more land, more territory. But I'm really believing Yahusha will come back and straighten everything out. He will give the right land to the right people. I'm not worried about that. It doesn't stress me out. It doesn't stress me out whether or not those Jews in the land of Israel today are the real Yahudim, the real Israelites or not. I'm not concerned because I know when Yahusha comes back, he's going to straighten it all out. I'm not concerned. Does anybody have any thoughts or any questions regarding this portion? Milo? Hallelujah. Jeff and Sakaya.
My version, it keeps having Abram call Yahuwah by his name.
Yes.
Yep. Was that a question if Abraham knew his name or not?
My reply to that, again, and I don't want to do this every time, but Exodus 6:3 says that Yahuwah didn't reveal his name to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. So why do we see the name Yahuwah popping up in the book of Genesis? My reply to that is that Abraham didn't write the book of Genesis. Isaac didn't write the book of Genesis, and Jacob didn't write the book of Genesis. Most scholars believe that Moses or somebody from Moses' time wrote the book of Genesis. Also, there have been many translators throughout the years. So the people who know Yahuwah's name would have put that name wherever El Shaddai or maybe just God was. They would have put Yahuwah's name because the person writing, the person translating, the person passing on the scriptures, the scribes and things like that, they know the name. So to me, my opinion is that it would back in Abraham's day, it would have been Elohim or El Shaddai. Like D-Rel just showed me. He showed me he told me in the Septuagint in where is that at, D-Rel? We started our video with it. In verse 7. He said to Abram, I am Yahuwah who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you this land to inherit. So in the Masoretic text, which is later, the Masoretic text is a pretty old manuscript. It's a Hebrew manuscript from about the 900s AD. Okay, AD. And in the Masoretic text, that is the name Yahuwah there, H3068. But in the Septuagint,
I am God.
It's God, not
And
the
then verse
Lord.
8,
And it's not the Lord, capital Lord, which usually in the Septuagint, they would put capital Lord, you know, where the Yahuwah's name would be. But here they put God.
yeah, verse 8, it says, and he said, Master and Lord.
Yep, I see that.
And the ISR will say Master Yahuwah for
Yep.
verse 8.
And then, yeah, so that's my answer to that, Jeff. It's
King James will say God, which
mhm.
which the Strongs will say it's Yahuwah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And again, it's suspicion. It's a skepticism. It's my theory. It's not. I could be wrong about this. I could be wrong. I could be reading Exodus 6:3 wrong. There's only about 2 or 3. There's very few translations that write Exodus 6:3 as a question instead of a statement. So
Okay.
there's no punctuation in Hebrew or Greek, right? So there's no question marks and exclamation point and all this other stuff. So it's up to the English translators or people translating to different languages whether they want to make that phrase, that sentence, a question or a statement. But to me, I don't see why it would be a question if Moses didn't know the name Yahuwah and Moses didn't know Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He was raised up in Egypt, and he's just finding out he's a Hebrew. Those slaves that are out there, those are his people. And he went and murdered somebody, and then he ran away, scared, not knowing what to do. So he's coming into his identity. So I don't know why Yahuwah would ask him, haven't I revealed my name, Yahuwah, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? To me, Moses would be like, I don't know. I guess. Rather, I'm giving you my name, Moses, and I didn't give this name to my forefathers. They knew me as El Shaddai. I'm giving you more. You know, that's my opinion based on the majority of translations of Exodus 6:3. So, you know, another question would be like, for me, I know this is going off a little bit on a tangent. Maybe I might break this up, make this a different video. But the other thing about it is like, why aren't there names with Yah in it? Like a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like after Moses, you see a whole lot of names with Yah in it. Jeremiah, Isaiah, you know, you get a lot. And when you look them up in the Strong's definition, it actually means Yahuwah this, Yahuwah that. But in the book of Genesis, I was looking for it. I was looking for names that have Yah in it. Yahudah is not one. Yahudah, the word Yahudah, when you look it up in the Strong's, it just means praised. It doesn't mean praise Yahuwah. That's what we've been taught. That's what we think the sacred namers have been teaching us. Just because there's a Y and an H, just because there's a Y and an H in the name doesn't mean it's referring to Yahuwah. It's an actual word. Yahudah is an actual word. So you can see it in the Strong's. I'm not making it up. And then there's another one. Yeah, there's a lot with L. There's more names with L in it, like God, just a generic L, God. So those are questions that I was looking for to see if I'm wrong. There's a place that's actually called something, and it has Yah in it, and it was a significant place. I forget who in Genesis, but to me, I would say that was probably named that later by people who have the revelation of Yah and know that Yah revealed himself to this particular character in the book of Genesis. You know, because that's like one. I found like one place that actually has like Yah, that they named a place with Yah. I think it's Moriah or something like that. But anyway, that's the answer to the question. I'll pause this video here. Probably give you more off record.